pass interference. You've got defensive holding on third down. You get a muffed punt in the second half with Tylan Wallace. Here's my question. Tylan Wallace, who has not fielded a punt this season, is back there behind by 2 touchdowns in the second half of a conference game. Stoner has shown the ability to field those balls. McCleskey's been back there before. Wallace had never been back there. Why was Wallace back there returning that punt? He was put in a situation he shouldn't have been put in, and he muffs a punt. Oklahoma State was only down 31-17 at the time. They would have had the ball near midfield with a chance to cut it to within a touchdown with more than 10 minutes left in the game. You put a guy back there who probably shouldn't be back there. He muffs the punt. You look up, you're down by 3 possessions, and then it really gets away from you.
Yeah, and I think what they were trying to do is he's shown the ability to have some playmaking in him, and they put him back there on the punt. And he obviously made a huge mistake there, and it's something else that he'll have to work on along with a number of things offensively, defensively, and on special teams. And also we got out coached. I mean, you saw with all of the man-to-man, we love that we're getting an opportunity to play more man-to-man, but you see the passing.
Also the veterinarian's charge for the visit, so so you have to consider, is it worth it, for your animal's peace, to eventually take that into consideration and visit the veterinarian so that the animals become familiar with it and learn that this person is not as bad as that they are worried about.
Over 600 yards of offense. Some of that could be attributed to us not doing anything offensively as well. I mean, we couldn't get off the field on defense, and then, I mean, we were going 3 and out and punting the ball when we did have the opportunity on offense. So this is going to have to do some soul searching with a loss like this. We were completely dominated. I mean, you would have thought Texas Tech was the one that was expected to come in here and win this football game the way that we thought Oklahoma State was. So, again, it's going to be a lot of work to do, a lot of questions to answer. And it's going to leave a bad taste in our mouth, like I said, until we get another opportunity.
Yeah, you talked about some of that man coverage, and Texas Tech, I said yards after catch were going to be a big deal, and there were a lot of yards after catch. But how about the yards before contact? And I'm talking about yards before contact on running plays, yards before contact on those little screens that they were running, the little curls that they were running. The amount of yards that Texas Tech was able to eat up before anybody even had a chance to make a tackle. They had guys out in space, they were moving people around up front, and they were getting their athletes out in space with a chance to operate. That's something Oklahoma State was not doing. Oklahoma State had almost no yards before contact, whether it be in the running game, whether it be in the passing game. Just about the only routes in the playbook tonight were the go down the sideline and the curl on the sideline. With Wallace and Johnson, it got really predictable, and that's why you did some things early. Do you know Oklahoma State led the game 17-14? Do you know when Oklahoma State scored to get to 17?
In the second quarter?
It was in the second quarter with 10 minutes and 40 seconds left. That means Oklahoma State was shut out the final 40 minutes and 40 seconds of that game. The final 40-40, Oklahoma State, not a point. And the thing is, they missed 1 field goal. Other than that, they didn't really have many opportunities to score. Oklahoma State did not move the ball in the second half at all.
I think we only had a little bit less than 400 yards of total offense. I think it was 378 that I saw on that total offense sheet. But yeah,
386. 386 total offense.
That's just not good enough to beat a team like Texas Tech or to beat any team within the Big 12. We have been pretty much an offensive juggernaut when you think about some of the offenses that have come through Stillwater, Oklahoma. But today just was not our day. We could not get anything going outside of a couple of go routes. Obviously, Justice Hill did some good things, but he only touched the ball 12 or 15 times. And some of that is just because we couldn't get anything going offensively, and then also we couldn't get him off the field on third down defensively. So, like I said, it's not a whole lot positive that you can say. If anything, we just got outplayed, we got outcoached, we got out physical. And when you talk about the execution of Bowman at quarterback, and you said it, the run after the catch or run even before contact. I was surprised after they faked that run and they shot it out there a couple of times in the flat. We had absolutely no one back there. And that's what happens when you play a lot of man-to-man, and those guys it's off man and it's not press man. and you have those situations where guys look like they're just out there standing by themselves and can fair catch it and still have an opportunity to run the football. So, again, we got completely dominated, and it doesn't feel good, and we got some work to do, a whole lot of it.
Yeah, definitely have some work to do. Speaking of fair catches, let's talk about Oklahoma State getting beat in the special teams. Field position, obviously, it's always a factor in these games, these conference games against two teams that can play, and you've got a chance to be close at the end of the game. It wasn't tonight, but it still could have been as this game progressed. Oklahoma State, the first two Texas Tech kickoffs of the game, Chuba Hubbard calls for a fair catch at the 4-yard line. You take it at the 25. Okay, makes sense because the kicker's sending the ball to the roof of Boone Pickens Stadium, if there is such a thing, and right back down. The coverage unit's already on top of you. They decide, okay, we're going to get greedy. The next time, he doesn't fair catch it, gets back to the 15-yard line. So then they fair catch a couple more times. Then they decide, no, we're going to get greedy again, gets back to the 12-yard line. If you know, obviously they scouted Texas Tech. Obviously they know that they send that ball way high in the air and get the coverage unit on top of you as soon as you catch it. So why aren't they just fair catching every time and taking it at the 25? It just seemed like Oklahoma State in all three phases, and that's just another illustration of it. It felt to me like they were guessing, and they kept guessing wrong.
Yeah, and that's just kind of one of those deals when it happens, when it's not going well for you and you decide to try to make a play, you end up getting stopped inside of your own 15-yard line. And it seems like a guess, but I'm pretty sure, like you said, that was something that Oklahoma State coaches scouted. And after doing such a good job on last week, I'm pretty sure that they had some confidence in some of those things. But it's not a bad deal to get the ball on the 25-yard line, especially if the alternative is getting stopped inside of your 15 and really taking all the momentum out of your return game. And I thought Chuba Hubbard was going to have some opportunities, but Texas Tech did such a great job of getting down there, and we didn't do that good of a job blocking, obviously not being able to get it out past the 20. So the special teams is right there with the defense and offense. They don't escape this paddling from the fans, from all of the announcers, from Sam Mays. It's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of blame to go around, and rightfully so, because we got dominated.
Absolutely. Let's take a break. Let's come back. Let's talk about the Big 12, big picture in the conference. It got a little weird today in the conference. We'll talk about that and much, much more coming up next. Welcome back to your Oklahoma State franchise post-game show, seeing some highlights here from the Oklahoma State 41-17 defeat at the hands of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And Donovan, how about the Big 12 today? Things did not go as they were supposed to go in the Big 12 conference. This conference, we kind of had it broken down. You got OU until somebody knocks them off, they're at the top. And then West Virginia, TCU, and Oklahoma State. And then a little bit further down, you got Texas and Kansas State and Iowa State and Texas Tech. That is not how things went on this fine Saturday. First off, the non-conference, Oklahoma went to overtime with the Black Knights of Army. OU pulled it out 28-21. But you talk about a season nearly coming off the rails in September. Boy, if Oklahoma had messed around and lost that game, the narrative would be a lot different. They sneak out with a win, but it has to give you a little bit of pause going forward as to how good is this Oklahoma team, and are they going to lose a couple of games in conference? Those are going to be some questions that are pondered quite a lot this week.
Yeah, I think so, and it just goes to show you, and we talked about it, every week is different, and I'm pretty sure that Oklahoma was riding high. They did some really good things against UCLA. They did some really good things against Iowa State. Kind of saw them team get tested a little bit and battle back. And then you go out against an Army team that everyone was saying that you're going to go out there and dominate them, and then you have to go into overtime with them. But the positive thing for those guys is that that's still a victory for them. It's still one in the win column, and you don't have any blemishes on your record. Oklahoma State can't say the same thing. I think a lot of people expected Oklahoma State to come in here, especially after dominating Boise State the way that we did, to beat this Texas Tech team. You know that they had some holes. You know that they had some things that they needed to get better at. But what you saw today just did not look like those things that we saw in those previous weeks. So it's really this OSU team just kind of fell off a cliff right here, and this is going to be one that we need to correct and really get ourselves back on track and get some things corrected.
Yeah, you know, Oklahoma, it's always better to get a win than a loss. And Oklahoma, you'd much rather beat Army in overtime than lose to Texas Tech by 24 on your home field. And here's the thing. This is going to be overreaction week. OU fans, look, I'm sure some people on our station will take phone calls on Monday, and this is going to be overreaction station on Monday. Here's the thing. 2 years ago, the Clemson Tigers won the national title. Not a lot of people remember them beating Troy 30-24 in the non-conference. Now, Troy's a good football team. They can play a little bit, but Army's a good football team. They can play a little bit. They won 10 games a year ago. They've already lost 2 this season, but they were coming off a win against Hawaii. This isn't an Army team that's going to go 3-9, something crazy like that. This is an Army team, probably got a chance to win 7, 8, 9 games, and Army controlled the game, nearly 45 minutes of time of possession. It might have been 45 minutes of time of possession. That was a big story in this Oklahoma State-Texas Tech game as well, as Texas Tech held it for more than 41 minutes. But yeah, Army had it for 44 minutes and 41 seconds in that game, and they just wore them down. That triple option, man, it's just a different animal.
It is, and it's a reason. It's a neutralizer when you don't have as good of athletes. And, you know, I want to touch on Oklahoma State again. To let Texas Tech hold the football for 41 minutes and rush for over 200-plus yards, I mean, that's just one of those deals. There's still some growing to do and some learning to do for Coach, the defense coordinator, Coach Knowles at Oklahoma State. And, you know, as well as 1 week is, you know, you can't dwell on those things, and he's still going to have some learning to do. And this won't be the first time. I mean, this won't be the last time. Just like I said about our cornerbacks early on in the pregame, this won't be the last time that we get hit for significant yardage. It'll be a learning experience, but we need to make sure that when we have opportunities that we get off the field on third down, and when we have opportunities to make big-time plays, sacks, interceptions, stuff like that, that we make them. Because if you don't get off the field on third downs, if you don't tackle, if you don't make plays when you have those opportunities, you end up with a situation like today where a team like Texas Tech comes in and holds the ball for 41 minutes and dominates you on your own field.
Yeah, and that was a big story in both of these games. And, you know, coming back, time of possession so often has to do with who converts on third down and who doesn't. And I hadn't even looked, but I thought to myself, man, it seemed like Tech got every third down and Oklahoma State just kept getting run off the field. third down efficiency, Texas Tech 9 of 14, Oklahoma State 3 of 13. 3 of 13 on third down, Donovan. I mean that's going to get you beat. That's the story of the game right there on third down. 9 of 14 to 3 of 13. You got no chance to win that game.
Yeah, and I mean they did it in a variety of ways. They were shooting the ball out there on the screens. They were running the football, converting first downs. They were throwing go routes. So they kind of did it in a myriad of ways as to where Oklahoma State, we just could not convert. Like you said, it was a go route. It was a curl route. We were trying to run it to Justice and our other running backs there in the run game, but it didn't work out for us, and it's got to be better. You didn't see a ton of quarterback run today. It's just every week it'll be different, but it needs to be different for Oklahoma State in a positive way, and so that we can come on a show like this in the post game and talk positively about them. But it's not a whole lot to say positive after you get dominated on your own field.
No, you're a 14-point favorite and you get beat by 24 points on your home field. These shows aren't nearly as much fun whenever that takes place. How about what took place in Austin today? Hook 'em horns, man. The Horned Frogs go down there, and TCU is supposed to have a pretty good team again. I've been telling people I do not trust Sean Robinson. I don't think he's a very good quarterback, and Texas wins that game 31-16. Sean Robinson threw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, had a 37 QBR. Michael Collins even got in the game for TCU late. He was 3 of 9 for 34 yards and a 13 QBR. So Texas Tech comes into Stillwater, whoops up on Oklahoma State, and Texas beats up on TCU. That throws a wrench in the tire in the Big 12. Things just got really interesting in that race for the second spot and who gets to go to Arlington.
It does, and it's one of those deals where now you're sitting at a situation where any one of those teams could have an opportunity, and obviously you put Oklahoma at that top spot, but TCU, Oklahoma State, I think you just all put those guys all in the same,
lump them all together,
and just mix them up, and whichever one comes out of there at the end of the year will get an opportunity to go down and play this Oklahoma team. But it's some parity in the Big 12.
Yeah, there's definitely some parity in the Big 12. All right, we need to take another break. We're going to come back. We're going to close this thing out, finish wrapping up what happened in Stillwater. We'll wrap up buy or sell, get you out of here on a Saturday night. Come back with us on your Oklahoma State Franchise Postgame Show.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care. It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Welcome back to your Oklahoma State Franchise Postgame Show, wrapping things up from Stillwater. Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. It was a big win for Texas Tech. As you see, Alan Bowman, the true freshman quarterback there for the Red Raiders, had himself one heck of a game. He's a player, Donovan. I tell you what, we were talking about Cliff Kingsbury's job. I think what might have saved Cliff Kingsbury's job, he chose McLean Carter to be the starting quarterback down at Texas Tech. He got hurt in the first quarter of the first game against Ole Miss. Alan Bowman comes in, and Alan Bowman, I tell you what, that kid's a true freshman. He can play. Gets the ball out of his hand quickly. He's accurate. He's got a strong arm. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Alan Bowman for the next 4 years in Lubbock.
I think so too, racking up a lot of touchdowns and a lot of passing yards, just like a ton of other Texas Tech quarterbacks. And he did it efficiently, and he made some good decisions with the football, got it out, like you said, on time, and got it out to the guys who was expected to make plays for Texas Tech. So it's a great thing for Texas Tech, and it's a terrible thing for the rest of the Big 12.
Yeah, it definitely is. Texas Tech, it's a team, they've got some potential to win some games in the conference this year that they weren't expected to win. They've already done it once against Oklahoma State. But now you've got to look at a Texas Tech team, had 3 players on the All-Big 12 defense preseason in the media poll. One of those, Ja'Shawn Johnson, hasn't played yet at safety with a shoulder injury, but he's expected to be back before too long. And this is a team that can score some points, spread you out, put pressure on your defense, and put pressure on your offense to keep pace, to continue to score on every possession. That's what happened to Oklahoma State. I think they felt that pressure to score on every possession and keep up, led them to 3 of 13 on third down. So Texas Tech, is this the sneaky team in conference this year that we can look up at the end of the year and this team finishes anywhere from 2nd to 4th in the Big 12?
I think so, and what allows them to do that is quarterback play. And you said it right there with Bowman. They did not expect to have a quarterback that go out there and execute at this high level, and he's going out there and he's doing that. And anytime your quarterback plays well, you're always able to beat people that you're not supposed to beat, win more games than you were expected to win. And it's just one of those deals. If that's one of the reasons why the Texas Longhorns haven't been back to that elite level within the Big 12. They've had average quarterback play, and Texas Tech has had average quarterback play, and they've had average seasons. But if they can continue to get this type of high-level play from Bowman, then they sneak up there, and they could be that next team that makes some noise in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think so too. They can play a little bit, and they can move the ball. It puts a lot of pressure on you when a team can just flat out score like that. All right. Taking a look at the official buy or sell sheet of paper. Taylor Cornelius, more than 320 pass yards in the buy or sell. Whew, not even close, Donovan. 258, I believe, was the number. It went away in front of me. I tell you what, computers. Yeah, Taylor Cornelius threw for a nice, cool, we're almost there, 258 yards in this one. So not even close to 320.
Not even close. And you knew you were going to need a little bit more than that because of the pressure that Texas Tech was going to put on you offensively. But we just didn't get it done from that aspect. And some of that, again, it goes back to the defense not being able to get this Tech offense off the field. 41 minutes of time of possession. You have to get off the field. And when you have the ball on offense for Oklahoma State, you have to move the football.
Yeah, absolutely you do, and Oklahoma State was unable to do so. Justice Hill, buy or sell more than 130 rushing yards. We both bought because we both thought he was going to get more than 12 carries. 12 for 111. Donovan, that's 9.3 per carry. Guys got to touch the ball more. I mean, whether you're moving, whether you're behind, I don't care what it is. You take some pressure off the other areas of your game. If you cut Justice Hill loose, he's yet to have a game this season with more than 15 carries. We're a third of the way into the season. I know it doesn't feel like it. It feels like we just started. We're a third of the way through. Justice Hill's got to touch the ball.
He does, and I still think, and he struggled some just because, like I said, he hasn't been able to get that 25-carry game, and the situation hadn't dictated that. But you're kind of in a situation, if he's as good as we think that he is, you have to force feed him the ball, and hopefully that gets your entire offense going when he gets going. But he hadn't had a ton of opportunities, and we needed to get him the football more. But it didn't happen tonight, and I think this team is better or not as good when he doesn't get these opportunities, and he hadn't been getting them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that highlight right there. He's just, man, he's so elusive. He's so hard to bring down. The touchdown run that he had was awesome where he cuts and then is able to make his way into the end zone And Justice Hill, look, I just think the guy needs more touches. All right, next one, we were buying or selling, and man, I've been close on Tylan Wallace the last 2 weeks. Buy or sell, Tylan Wallace has more than 120 receiving yards, and he gets it late in that fourth quarter. He had 123 receiving yards, and this was the difference maker here. I sold and you bought, so you got the win on that one. Tylan Wallace, he's clearly the #1 receiver right now. That's established, right? Yeah, we can put that conversation to rest. Tylan Wallace, #1 receiver. Buy or sell that Adarius Bowman's younger cousin, Allen, would have more than 420 passing yards. He had 397. I think he would have gone north of 420 if this game was in doubt. Wasn't in doubt in the fourth quarter, so they just kind of bled the clock a little bit. We both sold there, so we both had that one. And the buy or sell that the OU defense would have more than 1 sack. The OU defense had 3 sacks. Texas Tech had not given up a sack coming in. So Donovan goes 3-2. I go 2-3. And now we are the Steelers and the Browns. 1-1-1. Well, that's assuming your Steelers can get it done in Tampa Bay tomorrow. Oklahoma State.
It's going to be tough, man.
It's going to be tough.
Fitzmagic is getting it done.
Fitzmagic's a very real thing.
Yeah.
Get that out of here. All right. Next week, we're back bright and early, 11 a.m. kick. Be back. The show will start at 9 o'clock. Donovan and I will be on at 9:30. And hopefully we'll have a little better football to talk about next week, Donovan.
Hopefully. I don't know if we take an L against these Kansas Jayhawks.
Woo! You talk about people's heads exploding. People's heads will be flat out exploding off their shoulders if something goes wrong in Lawrence next week. All right, the Big 12 got weird today. We'll see how it plays out. Third of the way through the season for Donovan Woods and our fantastic crew here in Stillwater. I am Colby Powell. We'll see you next Saturday.